themselves and their families.
I call Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The previous speaker obviously came from the school that if you don't have a strong argument, shout. And that was his approach for that speech. And it really surprises me because the Labour Party say that they support the general principle that loan borrowers should meet repayment obligations for money they have borrowed from the Crown. That's what they say. But when it comes to it, they don't really want to do anything about it. The reality is that we have a problem with default for people not paying back their loans when they go overseas. So we have 110,000 overseas borrowers at the moment. 61,370 of them are in default, with an amount outstanding of $543 million, and the total loan balance is estimated to be around $3 billion. So that, according to the Labour Party, is not a problem. It's not an issue. It's a ridiculous thing to even try and get it back. So whereas we here in the National Party take the responsible view to taxpayers and to other people who have borrowed money from the scheme, the responsible thing to do is to make sure that people pay their loans back. And so the alternative, it seems to me, is carry on doing nothing. So when we know somebody has a very large loan outstanding to fellow New Zealanders, just to say hello to them at the airport, say thanks, have a nice day, and do nothing about it. Well, we're not going to do that anymore, and this proposal is only when every other opportunity and avenue has been exhausted to encourage people to pay back their loans, to have a final sanction in place. And I think that's absolutely appropriate and very much in tune with the thoughts and needs of New Zealanders who want to make sure that their money is spent wisely. This student loan bill is one of the part of National making the student loan scheme sustainable into the future. Because, Mr. Speaker, we know we're not going to get very far if we waste, if we're not even concerned about $500 million, $543 million being owed to fellow New Zealanders, and we're not going to lift a finger about getting it back. So it seems to be a theme. There seems to be a theme in the Labour Party at the moment. You say one thing and you do another. You thunder about trust and you have one of your own. You thunder about the politics of envy in leafy suburbs, but you live in one yourself. So you say that you care about paying back loans, but you actually, when it comes to the crunch, you don't do anything about it. You don't do anything about it. And so this debate is all about making sure that the over 100,000 overseas-based borrowers do their duty and pay back those loans. And just want to drill on one area here. We're talking about the potential for arrest at the border is a targeted measure aimed at those who consistently fail to meet their responsibility to repay their loans. And I do want to say, there were some constructive comments during the Select Committee process, particularly from the New Zealand First Party, not so much from the Labour Party, unfortunately. And the Greens still seem to have a rather adolescent attitude to all this, that somehow we should just throw money at everybody and it's not a big deal if they don't pay back $543 million that are owed to fellow taxpayers. And this bill is a responsible bill. It's about bringing some discipline back to a scheme. We've been stepping away very carefully, very cautiously, sending a clear message that we expect people to pay back their loans, and I think that's fitting and appropriate. And on that basis, Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.
I call Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill represents a